Only an hour and a half away from Philadelphia, with Lancaster City 3 miles away, one would think Millersville University of Pennsylvania would be an all-around diverse campus. Millersville University is a PWI, predominantly white institute, with minorities only making up 20% of the campus population. The university is a great way to connect with other cultures throughout the world, but from students of color's perspective, it is a different story.
Millersville has taught me that as a black person, I must always be cognizant of my race because everybody else is. Like when I walk around campus, I see very few people who look like me. And that's something that I notice. I'm cognizant of that. And I do not think that white students have that plight. They don't have that awareness.
Not only do the minorities have trouble with the transition to college, the majority also does.
Living with my roommate, he was one of the people that kind of rubbed me the wrong way at first. Just he thought that he could say certain things to me that I wasn't necessarily cool with, like the N-word. He would always ask me if it was okay if I was his, and I'd be like, no, like maybe not. I don't think that that's okay, we could be friends, but I'm definitely not.
When you're on a campus that is predominantly white and you're a student of color, I think you're not just representing yourself, but you're also representing the rest of the students of color. So if I'm on campus acting like a fool, they're gonna look at me like, oh, okay, the rest of the students of color must be some fools.
As a minority, how your race is represented on a predominantly white campus is important.
As a student of color at a PWI, you're kind of always under a microscope. And what you do a lot of the times is what people kind of associate with your race. So if a black student, and Dr. Rita Smith-Boydell tells us this all the time, she said, if you don't come to class, it looks like the black students don't go to class.
You could tell in the room that there was separation. A lot of the faculty stood in the back of the room. They weren't really up with the students. They didn't really want to be involved. It felt like someone was pulling their leg to be there, like it wasn't worth their time to be there.
Being a student of color on a predominantly white institution is a little bit different because you have to understand that the experience that you're experiencing here on campus is that of the dominant culture. So all phases of the institution is privy of the dominant makeup, racial makeup of the institution. So in order to counterbalance that, you have to have multiple levels of integration. This way you can fully understand the true multicultural experience.
Multiculturalism is the idea that several different cultures can coexist peacefully and equitably. Since 1976, college enrollment in the United States was up 9% for Hispanics and Asians and 4% for African Americans. Millersville University is making efforts to attract and keep minority students at the university.
The Pre-Scholars Summer Institute, it's a college prep summer program that kind of prepares particularly minorities and students who come from the inner city to get prepared for college. Usually these students are students who couldn't meet the standard requirements to get into Millersville, so the 2-week program helps them meet the requirements to get regularly admitted into Millersville.
Despite struggles of being the minority, students still feel optimistic about their time at Millersville.
As a black student on Millersville's campus, I think that my race and my culture is doing a wonderful job of representing themselves.
Being a student of color here at Millersville, I think it means being a very bright, very talented individual, because we have very, very, elite admissions standards here at our institution. So we attract the best and the brightest. I also believe that it means being an individual where the majority experience is a little bit different than you in terms of racial identity. But I think being a student of color means that you're an individual that truly, truly values who you are, and you value your academic experience, and you value that so much that you came to Millersville University.
I think the biggest thing that Millersville has taught me about being a student of color is that you may not always be accepted at first, but as long as you keep working and you have that positive influence, that people eventually realize that you're just like everyone else and that you still can make a difference.
I think that as a student of color, I make myself available so that people can understand the plight of African Americans and colored students on Millersville's campus and then do things to change that.
Millersville University has 9 student-run multicultural organizations. The purpose of these organizations is to promote different cultures, but still, what else can be done to make an individual choose Millersville over another institution?
I think that we could dedicate more resources to actively engaging more individuals in the faculty and the staff and administration to come here to Millersville. So I think as individuals are hired into the institution, you have to understand that, the lived experience of a multicultural applicant that's coming from, a rural area, that's coming from a suburban area or an urban area into, suburban Lancaster County, it's going to be a little bit of difference.
The multicultural students who have chosen to continue their education at Millersville University still believe that their experiences here have helped for the better in their lives, whether it be having a community of others or joining an organization to continue promoting their diversity.
The biggest lesson that it's taught me is even if you see like people looking at you a certain way, or even if you feel like you're being judged, that doesn't mean judge someone right off the bat just because they're looking at you a certain way. So just wait it out and things will get better. You can get into college, you can succeed. So that's why I'm here, kind of to pave the way for the future generations.